Welcome to the channel. My name is Matthias. Today we're going to talk about who I consider to be the top 10 most dangerous Spider-Man foes. Just like with my Venom video last week, I went through about 80% of my Spider-Man collection. So this is going to be like a preliminary video, getting all the stats from all the confrontations, the battles that Spider-Man has gone through, his victories, his losses, his ties. And again, this is for now because not only have to finish my Spider-Man collection, I have to go through my whole comic book collection. And I have a ton of Spider-Man appearances in other series and crossovers and stuff like that. So at least for me, it's going to be super interesting to see who goes up, who goes down, who's off the list, who's added to the list. So to start off, we have Spider-Man's trading card from Marvel Series 1. He had 3 trading cards. This is like the main Spider-Man. You also had a card with Spidey with the black suit and as Cosmic Spider-Man. For some reason, I forgot to take pictures of those. So on the back of the trading card, you had the amount of battles Spidey had, his victories, his losses, his ties. So on the card, it establishes that Spider-Man had 1,562 battles. He had 920 wins, 528 losses, and 134 ties. Now, in my personal collection, up until now, I have covered 173 Spider-Man appearances. I still have to go through like a chunk of 1980s Spider-Man and like a small part of 1990s Spider-Man. But I do have to say, Spider-Man as an individual hero has like a pretty big chunk in my collection. He's probably first. Maybe Hulk comes second. Possibly tied with Deadpool. Maybe third or fourth would be Wolverine. So here's my Spider-Man collection. I've covered all these issues. I still have to go through these that are from the 1980s. Over here, sorry, Mr. Fix-It, here's all my Venom stuff. So let's get into the ranking. And at number 10, we have Electro, who I know he's going to go up in the ranking because I have more Electro appearances that I have not covered yet. Up until this moment, we have only 3 battles with Electro. Spidey has 2 wins, 1 loss. You know, out of all of Spidey's villains, I think maybe Electro and Sandman are the 2 most physically powerful. Electro's insanely dangerous. Like, he has defeated X-Man. He also has left Thor on his knees. Because one thing about Electro is that he's not very ambitious or smart. So most of the times he's just a minion. He's a thug for some other mastermind villain. So at least for me, there's no super compelling Electro stories that come to mind. Now, at number 9, we have Hobgoblin, which I will bunch together all the different characters that have been Hobgoblin over the years. And again, here we have a character that I feel is going to go up in the ranks because I have not gone through 1980 Spider-Man, where Hobgoblin was like one of the big bads of that time. Just like with Electro, we have 3 battles. We have 2 wins for Spidey and 1 tie between both characters. Now, Hobgoblin, even though his whole backstory is very, very convoluted, now I do think that the Hobgoblin is a more interesting villain, especially during the 80s and the whole situation between the Goblin, the Rose, and the Kingpin. So let's go to number 8, where I put Kraven the Hunter. Over the years, Kraven as a character has really grown on me. Now, in my collection, I have 4 battles between Kraven and Spidey. We have 2 victories for Spidey, 1 for Kraven, 1 tie. Also with Kraven, we have one of my all-time favorite Spider-Man stories, Kraven's Last Hunt. What a fantastic and super dark story where Kraven pretty much almost killed Spider-Man and then tried to take his place and be the first superior Spider-Man, and he goes totally mad and he ends up unaliving himself. You know, I should put in a honorable mention for Vermin, who was part of Kraven's Last Hunt. I find him to be a very disturbing villain for some reason. Now, personally, for me, I feel like Kraven should have stayed dead. I'm not sure how he's back, if he's a clone, or if we had time travel shenanigans. Like, I've seen him romping around the Marvel Universe, being a headache for Agent Venom or causing trouble for Old Man Logan. But with Spider Man, I feel like you get the best from Kraven. Now, at number 7, we have Mysterio. He's one of my all time favorite Spider Man villains in general. Now, in my collection, they have clashed 5 times. Spidey has 2 wins over Mysterio, and we have 3 ties. I always find Mysterio stories to be pretty interesting, and sometimes they go off the wall because he does project illusions and he can do pretty crazy stuff like that. I also think his character design is just fantastic. But my favorite Spider-Man and Mysterio story is the one where we discover that Mysterio had like this avatar in the Ultimate Universe, and this led to Spider-Man falling into the Ultimate Universe when he clashed with Mysterio and he meets Miles Morales. That was in the Spider-Man miniseries that actually led to Quentin Beck, who is Mysterio, being trapped in the Ultimate Universe for a long time. Now, at number 6, I actually bunched together the mini symbiotes, the minor symbiotes. So we're not talking about Venom or Carnage or Anti Venom. Just one off symbiotes that Spidey has fought over the years. So these are stories that normally are with Venom, or Venom is in the stories and he's teaming up with Spider Man. And also the drone symbiotes that we got during the Absolute Carnage crossover. So in this case, while my dog is snoring below me, we have 8 battles where Spidey has come out on top 5 times. He has lost once, and we have 2 ties. Now let's jump to 5, where we have the Lizard, a character that I've always had a soft spot for. Here we have 8 battles with Spider-Man, where he has defeated the Lizard 5 times. He has lost twice, and we have 1 tie. Now, with the Lizard, we have like some interesting stories, but like one of Spider-Man's greatest failures too, because we have this very dark story where Spidey couldn't stop the Lizard from eating his own son to cut any ties to the humanity he may still have. That's actually another one of my all-time favorite Spider-Man stories. It's up there with Kraven's Last Hunt. And you have always this situation where Spidey's trying to cure the Lizard because of his connection and friendship to Curt Connors, who is the Lizard when he's in human form. Maybe it's a little bit frustrating, the cyclical nature of the Lizard, because he's been cured so many times and he's always coming back to be the Lizard. Now, at 4, this might be surprising for many. I was actually surprised. I thought he was going to be higher up. We have Doc Ock, who personally I think is the most dangerous of all of Spider-Man villains. He literally killed Spider-Man once. Well, not Spider-Man per se. Like, he hijacked his body and erased his consciousness for a while during the Superior Spider-Man story arc, which is another really, really good Spider-Man story. With Doc Ock hijacking Spider-Man's body, it was a fascinating character study on what made Spider-Man tick and how this actually made Doc Ock grow as a person. And we got to see how both characters were very similar and they were like 2 sides of the same coin. And the evolution, again, of Doc Ock during that time and after was fascinating. And then it seems that as of late, Marvel has walked everything back with Doc Ock. It's just a shame. Now with Doc Ock, with the battles, we have 9 in total, 4 wins for Spidey, 3 losses, and 2 ties. So Doc Ock in this whole ranking is the character that has defeated Spidey the most. And as a character, I've always thought that Doc Ock was super interesting. Let's just leave out everything that went down with Aunt May. Uh, and let's go to the next character on this ranking. So at number 3, we have Carnage, where we have 10 battles against this villain, 4 wins, 6 ties. Now, the conflicts that Spidey has had with Carnage over the years, like his first appearance in Maximum Carnage, I think are the 2 best. Maybe Absolute Carnage. But most of the other conflicts that we have with Spidey and Carnage are just okay. Most of them also are tied to the hip with Venom. I feel like Carnage is very much a product of the 90s, and for that reason, he's interesting in that aspect. I remember when he first came out, like there was like a big buzz, like everyone at my school was talking about the character, and everyone was like scrambling to get his first appearance. So let's leave Carnage behind, and we have at number 2 Norman Osborn, who has had many identities over the years, be it the Green Goblin or the Iron Patriot. Now, stories with Norman Osborn always feel very personal for Spider-Man. Also, you feel like the stakes are very high when Spidey has to deal with Norman Osborn. He should have stayed dead, but ever since he has come back, we have had some pretty compelling Spider-Man and Norman Osborn stories. Also, one interesting thing about Norman Osborn, he's been able to step outside of Spider-Man's side of the Marvel Universe and be a threat to all of Marvel's characters except for the cosmic ones. When he became the head of S.H.I.E.L.D. and we had the Dark Reign, which is one of my favorite Marvel eras in general. Now, in my collection, I have 10 battles, just like with Carnage, between Spidey and Norman Osborn, where we have 6 victories for Spidey, 1 loss, 3 ties. And I totally forgot to mention the time that Norman Osborn had the Carnage symbiote and he became the Red Goblin. And we had that last titanic battle between Spidey and Norman, which bookended Dan Slott's run. And boy, did he end his whole run on Spider-Man, his epic run on Spidey, with a bang. Very possibly in my next ranking, Norman might be first. I don't know, because at number 1, surprisingly, we have Venom. Now, I have a pretty large Venom collection, so that's why Venom is up there. Marvel editorial really pushed these two characters to battle it out many times during the 90s. Many of these confrontations were shameless cash grabs, as Marvel does a lot. So, Spidey and Venom have battled 15 times within my collection. Spidey has won 10, lost 1, and they have tied 4. Now, my favorite Venom story in general is like the whole Black Costume saga, how Spidey gets rid of it. It takes Eddie Brock as a new host. And then the whole situation where Eddie Brock starts stalking Peter Parker and he doesn't activate Spidey's spider sense. So he felt really, really dangerous. The Venom symbiote and Eddie Brock were hell-bent on making Peter Parker pay for everything that they felt wronged by him. There are many moments during that era where Venom felt like a scorned ex-girlfriend who has become completely unhinged. it's priceless. But then we had that whole transition where Venom became an anti-hero, and all the way up to the Maximum Carnage crossover, the relationship between Spidey and Venom I thought was interesting, but after that, like again, we have not had any really good Spider-Man Venom stories. It was interesting during Donny Cates' run how both characters had to work together during the Absolute Carnage crossover, but like we're far removed from the 90s garbage and the superhero misunderstandings that led to minor skirmishes there. They just worked together. They had a team up. So I'm going to leave this ranking here. I hope you guys liked it. I'm going to do a second one further down the line. So there's going to be a lot of movement here. So see you guys next time. Bye.